And you are live.
Thank you, Mary. For everybody watching at home, good evening. It's our 6:30 executive session that was on the council agenda for this Monday, January 25th, 2021. Before we begin, we're live to offer a vote before we go into closed session, and any discussion that may need to be had by the council before we were to go into that session. So before we begin, I know that there may be some questions for the council from the council, but I'd like to read the closed session summary, and then from there we can entertain any discussion before we pull a vote on whether or not to go into closed session. So the closed session summary, to be included in the minutes of our next open meeting. One, the statement of the time, place, and purpose of the closed session. The time of the closed session will be January 25th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. The place, location of the closed session is going to be virtual via Zoom with public statement and vote open to the public using Facebook Live. The purpose of the closed session is to discuss a matter directly related to a negotiating strategy associated with selling a portion of Heron Park. The date and time that we will return to a public meeting if we were to go into closed session will be January 25th, 2021 at 7 p.m. So now, if there's anybody on the council that would like to ask any questions before we go into closed session, we have our town attorney, Dave Gaskell, as well as many of our other department heads on the call.
Well, my question is, because this meeting was not publicized as an open session meeting, would it be appropriate for us to go into closed session now? Because although we have had notice out there that this was going to be an executive session meeting, the general public did not know to attend.
And Mr. Burrell, you are correct. The agenda does not state that we were going to have an open session prior to our vote to go into executive session. That is correct.
And I think you also, Council Member Burrell, I think you bring up a great point that as we transition into a new way of conducting our executive sessions, that this is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for all of us. So I think letting the public know that they have an opportunity to see what the agenda items are that we are going to cover or would like to cover in an executive session, as well as to know that they have the opportunity to say, hey, look, we disagree with this, and that we have a mechanism for being able to handle that input as well.
So would it be more appropriate for us, since our regular session meeting was publicized for 7 o'clock, would it be more appropriate for us to go into that open session and then transition into a closed session once that meeting has started, once that meeting has concluded, or whatever?
Well, the only thing that I would say based off of the documents that I've reviewed is that I don't think the disclosure is going to change from whether we do it now versus waiting until the end of the meeting. I would suggest that if we want to provide more time for people to understand the process and make sure that it's clear and transparent, that we postpone the executive session until our next meeting on February 8th.
I agree with that.
So now my question is to Dave Gaskell, our town attorney, should we pull a vote since we have advertised a meeting? I think we should vote, and I believe that a vote toward that would be opposed to an executive session at this time, and then we'll try again on our next council meeting.
That would certainly be appropriate.
Okay, so number two,
Mr. Mayor, sorry, excuse
yes,
me.
sir.
So then are we then proposing to push this executive session back, and then in the future we will conduct open, then go into closed?
So the process for the Open Meetings Act, and town attorney David Gaskell can elaborate if I missed something, is that you need to provide the opportunity for the public to hear the reason you're going into closed session, the time that you intend to meet, the place, the reason for entering into that closed session, and when you plan to return back into an open session. Then there would be an opportunity before a vote's pulled for anybody to object in the public if they choose. If there's merit, then we need to weigh that before a vote were to be taken. If not, the council could still choose to go into closed executive session.
That's
Following-
correct.
Following that meeting, a different disclosure form will be used to identify the items that were on the agenda, the code in which they comply with, and then the items that were actually discussed. So there is no deviation from the agenda item while in closed session.
But for tonight's purposes, the one thing we did not do was advertise that we were going to be in open session at 6:30 prior to entertaining whether we were going to close session. And the public needs to be advertised to the public.
And in full disclosure that we became aware of some of these new items and that we didn't necessarily have them in place. And in an effort to make sure that we're complying with them, we want to be open and transparent with the public. Everybody that works for the town, everybody that's elected in office with the town of Berlin, we want those things. So it's about how we can improve and become better. So
So do you need a motion?
what I would need is a motion to either close or a motion to oppose a closure, and then I'll pull a second and a vote.
But before you do that, can you even make a motion in a meeting that hasn't even been advertised? I mean, it's almost like we should close this meeting now and at 7 o'clock, open up a meeting and
Yeah,
do what we need to do. Because we shouldn't even be having a meeting right now.
But
yeah.
it's an open meeting and it's open to anyone on Facebook. We're not in closed session.
And just so that we're aware, this is the disclosure that's taking place for this proposed executive session is no different than any disclosure that's been done in the past. The difference is that we have new information that's going to help make the town of Berlin better and more compliant with the Open Meetings Act. And we want that. So I'm going to defer with whether a vote can be pulled or not to the town attorney.
I think a vote can be had to not go into executive session.
Then I will make that motion to not go into executive.
Do we have a
Second.
Second by Councilmember Burrell. All right, we're going to work
Yeah.
around in the Hollywood Squares. Councilmember Nichols,
I agree.
you're opposed to going into executive, correct?
Correct.
Councilmember Nur,
Opposed?
Councilmember Purnell.
Opposed.
Thank you. So we will reconvene our regularly scheduled mayor and council meeting for 7 p.m. This evening. And the Zoom link, Mary, am I mistaken? Is it the same or is it a different link for the live session?
No, it's a different link.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
See you at 7.
See ya.